out. Guys, we got to talk. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And Robert, can you post real quick to the group, BlackNSA board group, and then let them know that we're on the call talking about influence. Please join us if they can. Speakism.com. Or you don't know which group I'm talking about. Or Summer, either one of you. Doesn't matter. Just one, either one of you.
Okay.
But let's get into it because influence is around the corner, and I know it's going to get progressively busy for me. Progressively busy. So I want us to start really come here, brainstorm. What is it that we want to do? I really want there to be a chair and a co-chair that manages this. I really do. In the past, I've had people say, well, I kind of sort of want to do it. And then I wind up doing it. And I'm trying to prevent that this year. So I'm asking if you're going to be the chair or co-chair to really come with a plan, and then I can throw you out there. But at least I wanted to use this time to just see what you're thinking. Do you have any ideas? What are your thoughts about influence? Just so you know what the heck I'm talking about. This is not for the BlackNSA normal awesome meeting that we have, which will normally it was Sunday night. Now it's Monday night. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the 90-minute that we're doing for the entire NSA. And so our only competition will be another community group. So we may go against PW, Power Women, or whatever. And we're up for 90 minutes and we're doing it twice. So they kind of want us to repeat it. That way, if you can't go to us from 1 to 2 something, then you can go to us from 3 to whatever something. I don't know that they email me the hours. I don't know them by heart right now. That doesn't matter. But it is 90 minutes. And the goal is for us to give them the best of BlackNSA, whatever that means to us. Give them a taste of us. And will we pull some crumbs in there of why we exist and why you want to join us or be a part of our community? Yes. But the majority of it needs to be about something that speakers care about, if that makes sense. Just like the rest of the conference. Why do you choose the sessions you choose when you go to the conference? So that being said, I don't want to share my ideas until I've heard your ideas. So guys, what do you think we should do? I know I'm so dramatic, right? So what do you guys think we should do?
I have to defer to Robert. I'm still feeling really new at all of this, and okay. I want to help and support where I can, but I will lean towards y'all right now. So I defer to Robert for his ideas, and I'll chime in where I have ideas.
That's fair.
Don't defer to me. I'm new too. Listen, so here it is. Here it is. I think we're all creative in some way. So I mean, I don't know what exactly we're looking for. Are we looking for something that is, what's the word I want to use? Something that can show the value as far as from a content level? What are the areas of expertise that we have that might be on the intersection of something that other groups are not able to offer? Is it something from a cultural or racial perspective that we can share in order to open people's eyes? Or is it just something kind of fun? So if you remember, we talked about doing something like a karaoke or something like that. And I'm not saying that has to be included in this showcase or the event itself, but what are the types of things that we're looking for?
That's a good question. I like a combination of the two before. I keep envisioning, but I kind of feel like it's overdone. So if we do it, I want us to make it unique. Yep. But I had a dream and I'm thinking I would love us to do some type of speaker showcase / TED Talk or TED Talks rather, but there needs to, I think what's going to make ours different will be the theme around it. And I want it to be where, say that a speaker gets up and they do their thing, you know, you're sitting there going, she's really good. He's really good. I need to refer him or book him for this group or something. So it needs to be something that's in the speaker's wheelhouse, but something that professional speakers will care about. Does that make sense, guys? So let's say that we did a whole showcase just on branding. This is not what I want, but I'm trying to give an example. Let's say that we decided our session is going to be all about speaker branding. And it's one thing to be a great speaker, but what if no one knows you exist? So come here and hear from 5 different professional speakers on what they do in order to brand their business. And you're going to hear a little bit about what they do in their own business or something like that. So,
but
yeah, go ahead.
But aren't they doing those types of things at the conference anyway? So
yes.
We don't want to repeat what other workshop presenters are doing.
That is true. They will definitely have lots of branding sessions. I do agree. I mean, remember, I'm just using it as an example. The example piece was just a theme. I'm looking at a theme, but the outcome, I guess, with my example is I want to show I would love for us to do a call for speakers. Now, I'm not trying to copy off of PW, but they sort of did this last year. A call for speakers. We put out what our theme is. We say that we're looking for 5, 6, whatever speakers to talk however long. And this is the theme. And you come in with your topic, and you're going to come up and you're going to represent BlackNSA. Right. Because I would love them to see a lot of speakers of color, but different types of speakers of color get up there and do our thing. Because that's what we are. We're speakers, because remember, our program is separate. So something around those lines, but you make a good point, Robert. Don't do something as simple as branding or something that's going to be in all the other sessions, but it certainly has to be related, something that professional speakers will care about, I'm thinking.
So could it be something fun as well, something that kind of stretches speakers? So I don't know if you remember, like last year when Sekou did during his keynote, he did that best day, worst day thing, where people were in the audience and he had one speaker stood up and started out with their best day. And when he said switch, the other speaker had to immediately move to the worst day. So something where it might be something where we've got a game show type of thing where we've got speakers come up and we ask them to start talking or doing something on a specific topic. And then, I don't know, on the spur of the moment, we give them something new and they've got to really switch gears and then get into speaker mode on a new topic. And it could be something serious, but I don't know. Maybe there's a different way that we can put a spin on stuff that they're already doing. We just, instead of making it workshoppy, we can really make it a little bit more spontaneous. It can be a little bit more fun. It can be a little bit more challenging for them to see, what you got. Let's see your chops type of thing. I don't know.
I like that. My only thing is I like that. What I like about it is that it's different. It's unique. I'm sure I've seen some level of it before. I would love for the conference to buzz about us. In the same breath, I don't want them walking out saying, well, that was fun, but I didn't really learn anything. So
that's kind of why I'm saying maybe if we did something like that, the topic itself could be not just fluff. It could be a serious topic, but it's really the goal is to really to stretch the speakers, number one, but also to see, where they are and what new can we learn from them, based not just from a content perspective, but maybe there's a delivery mechanism that they are using. Maybe there's a framework that they utilize for extemporaneous or impromptu or whatever. And we can, after that, then we can kind of ask them, so how did you do this? Or how did you do well at that? I don't know.
So give us play it out, unbutton it a little bit. Give me an example.
So, so let's say that, and I'm going to get crazy. So you might say, okay, so you were sitting down and it was the night of November 7th, 2016, and you were watching the election. You had to give a speech the next morning about the president. And so you started writing your speech, but then it flipped on you. And now you've got to, so tell us what you said the next morning. So maybe they speak, I don't know, for 2 minutes, and then we give them something else and they've got to switch gears and start talking about something new. I don't know. I'm just trying to.
I like that. Just be careful. That sounds a lot like table topics.
No. I know. I'm just
mastery at all. So
yeah. No, I don't want it to be toast mastery. I just kind of, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something that's different than, I didn't want it to be just, okay, another panel discussion.
I agree. No panels. I mean, we've done plenty of that, but it definitely has to be something of value because you want folks to feel like I went there, I learned something, because that's what we stand for in our community. But I like where you're going. What are your thoughts, Summer and Norm, based on what do you think?
On his idea or on just in general?
Period.
Okay, I'll go. A couple things. I just saw Black Panther, so obviously I'm pretty inspired by that. But right, exactly. My thought was, if we're going to make this a Black NSA thing, why not go with that and talk about what Wakanda is in everybody's mind, and create our own Wakanda speaking world, and talk about how we need to share what we have with other people. And they don't know what we have until we put it out there. I mean, everybody has this perception of what a Black speaker is, and the reality is, now we're not much different than you, but that's the perception you guys have. And then talk about how they can join us, and we can join them, and create this community that has this wonderful technology, speaking, blah blah blah. And our goal is to share it with the speaking industry. I think if we're going to take this 90 minutes, that I think part of it should be about who we are and a real insight into who we are. And also be inclusive, because, after that movie, I'm like, wait a second, you know what? You're right. We need to share what we know, and we need to be receptive, and we need to know that there are different perspectives, and that, sometimes we're limited to who we can speak to versus being limited to who we can speak to. So, I mean, that's the thing I'm thinking of. It's real powerful. I think we can come up with a symbol for speakers, whether it's this, or sharing our voice or something. But, they're using the Matrix thing. So I think, why not go along with that? So,
like, come up with our own Black Panther, but for speakers where it's inclusive.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way. That's what I'm thinking.
We can't call Brian a colonizer, though, but outside of that.
We could, a former colonizer, whatever. But I mean, that's the way I'm looking at this, because then it's fun, it's timely, it's inclusive.
I love it, because
it allows branding. It plays into who we are, and someone might say, wait a second, in the movie there was a white guy, actually two white guys, but there was a white guy who was an integral part of the community. I mean, he ended up stopping technology. Well, you all saw the movie, so but I mean, that's what I'm thinking. But that's just my thought. So.
No, I love it. Oh my goodness. Because what I love about the direction that Robert and Norm, both of you are going in, is I like that it's fun and it's different. Because Robert, you made such a good point. You just don't have another session on how to, then you might as well, you know what I mean? Right. And I feel like we have a chance to have fun, but I like that because Black Panther was awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I'm sitting up here like everybody gotta wear some African. But I like when you said, but make it inclusive. Why not have our own symbol where we're playing off of Black Panther? But then I'm gonna need a superhero.
Or a super speaker.
Oh wow.
I mean, I think that.
Oh my gosh!
And if you think about the purple thing that they had that gave them the power, well, we can come up with something like that to give to everybody, because ultimately we want them all to go off and be their own.
Well, that's still kind of like red pill, blue pill.
It could be, yeah, it could be. I mean, but I saw some pushback on pills, so I mean.
Oh my gosh! Yep.
Yeah. So, which, anyway, something. One of the things I always like is giving them an anchor, my audience an anchor, so they can remember what we talked about instead of, oh, that was great, and 6 months later from now they can't remember what it was. So whether it's an anchor of that plant or whatever it was he ingested or something, You know, there's all kinds of things. So that's my take on it.
For some reason, I see everybody coming. You got to do this. You know, this is Black Panther. We're like,
yeah, there you go.
Speaker, and then give it a different lives, you know, the different levels.
Yeah.
And I can even see bad speaker going against good speaker. You know what I mean? Like the bad speaker comes up and they're like, I'm stealing your copy. I'm not going to give you credit for your quotes. Matter of fact, I'm gonna buy a bunch of your books and say they're mine and sell them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like different aspects of the speaking business, but it's like a war. I don't know. I make it crazy.
Yeah.
I like those ideas. I was just gonna say, you guys can take my black card. I still haven't seen Black Panther. I will see it.
I can tell. You were like, huh? I can tell.
No, I wasn't. I know I'm not completely lost. I actually have a friend who's in the movie, and I just have not made it a priority to go see. I do, yeah. She doesn't have a major role, but she's one of the warriors. But so yeah, no. So I can't speak to the details, but I like where you're going with it, Norm. What I was gonna say before you even started speaking, and I like what you were saying, Robert, too, and I definitely see ways to tie it in. I like what you were saying, Marquessa, too, about the good and the bad and how you tie that in. The one thing I wanted to kind of reiterate from what Norm was saying that I feel is important is we got to bring to it what is actually unique about us and the fact that we are BlackNSA. Yep. And so the Wakanda theme, that wasn't an idea I had. I think it's a great idea, but I was just thinking, however we do it, it's got to be some, you know, statement that we're BlackNSA and what makes us unique, and why should you care? You know, why should the other people in attendance, why should they care about BlackNSA or about any of us individually as speakers?
I agree.
I mean, because
I don't have a whole bunch of ideas right now, but those are some of the things that, you know, and I guess too, maybe we, like Marquessa, like you even said, would start with the end in mind. What do we want the people to walk away with? What do we want them to?
True. That is so true. What do we want them to walk away with? And Norm summed it up a little bit with, and we want. Robert was just with me, weren't you? Robert and I just attended the pod for the mastermind, and Helen came on, and she's Asian American, and she came on and talked about writing a book and that whole process. And she shocked us because at the very end, she teared up and she just said, BlackNSA, you have no idea how much you mean to me, because there is no Asian NSA.
Right.
And we love what you're doing and your voice. And so there's so many other races out there that are looking at the Black. I've never felt, that I can recall right now, other than when Obama ran. Felt so, when Obama was up there and all those Obama moments. But Black Panther really just made me so proud to be Black, and the way we just connected it, and it's still going up in numbers, and how we all showed up and everything. Right. So there are a lot of races that are counting on us. So we definitely have to make a decision and be clear on what we want people to walk away with. And if I were to answer that, I would say it in part, I want them to know the importance of being inclusive, and the fact that you may think you're inclusive, but you're not. So that would be my thing. So
I love that. That was very powerful at the end, what Helen said. Mm-hmm. So now as you're talking, I'm wondering, is there a way for us to use that? Is there a way for us to display, without diminishing or diluting BlackNSA, but to display the rainbow, or to display the number one, the diversity within us as BlackNSA, but then some of the others who are not represented as well.
Oh, I love this.
Able to invite them on stage, or have something where it kind of says, this is us. This is the entire spectrum of us. And is, that might be inclusive of, Caucasian as well. I don't know. I'm just saying, but I would love to see a Helen on stage. I would love to see, you know, Pegeen.
To show her video up there.
Correct.
I can just see the video of Helen saying that.
Right.
You know, because BlackNSA exists, I feel like I have a voice. You know what I mean? Yes. Right.
Yeah.
You know, I can say that we had 4 or 5 speakers. They all have a specific role, you know. And I'm not trying, I don't want this whole thing to be on diversity, but
no. But it's not necessarily diversity. I think the word you used was inclusivity.
Yeah, inclusivity. That's the one.
And
that's
so it's really
missing.
The fact that what Helen said was, you know, not even so much the color, but your voice speaks for me.
We all have a voice. We all have a voice. Yeah.
Right.
That is so true.
So how do we display that, or how do we allow? And so it might even be something where we're not literally seeing people. It might be the room is dark, or it might be just kind of on screen you're hearing voices. And these voices are saying or sharing powerful ideas. And so we're just using the auditory sensibility for this. And then after those messages are shared, now we start to display, you know, we have Wakanda, we have, you know, and I don't know, I'm just kind of processing maybe some different visuals that can maybe we separate the visuals from the voice, and then we bring the visuals in to share how maybe our assumptions about what the voices are connected to were wrong, or maybe how, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I'm hoping you see where I'm going. I can't explain it all just yet.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm feeling you because, and I'm seeing that. I'm seeing, because I'm like, Marquesa, you know, remember, we are BlackNSA, and it's okay to be, I'm proud of that, you know, so I'm not going to step away and try to make everybody feel included, but I definitely want that, you know, the minority voice to not feel like a minority, and maybe why are we there? I would want the people that are not minorities in the audience to feel like I understand you more. And now I don't feel like I'm so disconnected. You're just like me. You're just a different shade. You're just this. And a lot of people not of color will say, but I already know that. But those same people are walking around, because I talk to them all the time, saying, why does BlackNSA even exist? I feel like the fact that you guys exist divides us. And that would be one of the outcomes, to understand we have to exist. If we don't exist, we're invisible. So when you have that PowerPoint, make sure you have a person of color in it. When you recommend your buddies, or you attend a conference, you notice that it's all people not of color. Why not recommend your fellow colleague that's a person of color that may not have access to that particular audience? So, you know, really write down, what do we mean when we say that we feel like sometimes our voice isn't heard? What do we mean by that? Yeah.
Did any of you watch the Oscars last night?
I did. I watched it. My boyfriend didn't want to watch it, but I watched it on my phone, and I have it recorded. Why?
Yeah, because there were a couple of things. There were some, because I think they did a good job of talking about all the movements. And so one of the things that Francis Dorman said at the end was the inclusion rider, to make sure that, you know, when you're doing a movie, that everybody's not one color. The same thing can be said for speaking conferences. Panels don't need to be all white men. Bureaus are a great example. Bureaus should be willing to, and hopefully be
You're frozen, Norm. Guys, is he frozen, or is it me?
Yeah,
he
is.
Darn it, it was so good too. No, I'm trying to write down what he said. So what separates us sometimes are the bureaus, the PowerPoint slides.
Did I come back?
Yeah, you're back now. Go ahead.
So, you know, I think I was talking about speakers bureaus. They get a chance to be advocates for anybody. And so if they're in the room, I think that's another place to say, you know, last night the Oscars did a good job of talking about what it feels to be the minority. The guy who did the movie The Big Sick, he said, you know, when he put out the movie about a Pakistani falling in love with somebody who wasn't the same, blah, blah, blah. He said, for some people, they were uncomfortable, but he said, you'll get over it. Just like every time I see a white guy in a movie, I learned to get over it. It isn't going to kill you. So, well, maybe he didn't say kill you. It isn't going to, the world isn't going to end. So when you hire a black speaker, the world isn't going to end because you brought in somebody of color if they have great information and they're a quality speaker. But, you need a speaker bureau to be an advocate to say, wait a second, we've got all types of speakers instead of, picking the one with a pale face or something. So that was, they just did a good job of talking about how the industry on its own, can create more openings. And then the thing she said at the end was an inclusion rider, which is if you're this big star, when you go to say, I'm going to do this film, you say, look, it needs to include, people of color, women, all that stuff. And because you're the star, you've got that power. Well, there are plenty of stars in NSA, plenty of big time speakers who could say, wait a second, I need to be the advocate for this, instead of not just us, but them. Because until they, and I hate to say they, but until they get on board and start becoming advocates, then it's just us, and we're going to look like we're upset and we're screaming, we're making noise, and everybody has to understand that. And the movement right now for Me Too and Time's Up, the reason why it's so effective is because there's so many people who are part of it. It isn't just women, they're men too. It isn't just celebrities, people in politics and things like that. So it's just something to think about.
I almost thought about the hashtag here. I wrote down here, hashtag all voices.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that because, especially now, women are saying, we can relate to that. Mm-hmm. So as a person of color, same thing. Mm-hmm. All voices.
All voices.
Yeah, and if you're in the LGBTQR whatever community, same thing. So I mean,
all voices.
I'm sure I left out a letter. I'm sorry, but I mean it's
several.
Okay.
Ain't no more letters. I gotta stop that.
No, there are more.
I'm sure there are. Yeah,
there's at least
T. I forgot a T. Yeah, there's plenty. So, but I mean, I think that hashtag is a great hashtag because you want it to be inclusive.
You like it, guys? You like all voices? Well,
Yeah.
It
makes sense.
Yeah.
I was thinking, you think about I like it, but it makes me think about Black Lives Matter and how the people then say, well, all lives matter on the flip side.
Right. So now we're coming back at that, right?
They kind of,
We're like,
and it depends on how you look at it too, because the all lives matter is to minimize Black Lives Matter.
Right.
So that's, just another thought. And I like everything that you said too, Norm. I was just saying, I think too, we have to also remember the with them, and that if we're doing what you're saying, Norm, and that's for us, ultimately that's to benefit us as Black speakers. You got, we need y'all to come on and help us. And then we can say the same thing, but we also need to make sure we position it so that they feel like they're getting something out of it, or to let them know what they actually are getting out of it.
So I hear what Summer is saying about the Black Lives versus all voices. One of the things that I heard when Black Lives Matter first came out, and I do have some level of agreement with it, is there was a guy, a comedian named Michael Jr., and one of the things that he said, they forgot one word, and it was two. Black Lives Matter too. That would make a difference in how some people received it. So what if our hashtag or the way that we approach it is kind of like a, let's hear our voices too, or our voices also, or all our voices matter, or, whatever it is. I don't want to use the word matter, but.
I'm going to say it's not matter. But I see.
But just saying, hearing our voices too, or something that really kind of says, you're not necessarily just kind of broad stroking and saying all voices. You're really pointing us out, but you're saying, listen, we're not minimizing that. We're just saying, listen, hey, we're here as well, and we matter as well. We matter just as much as those that are at the table currently.
Ooh. Okay, so what was the hashtag then? I like that. You're right.
I don't know. I just threw out a bunch of stuff random.
That's okay. It's being recorded.
Yeah.
Black speakers too, yeah.
I was just gonna go back to if we see if you wanted to talk some more about what we want them to walk away with, because right now we just have the inclusiveness, and we probably need to kind of figure that out too.
So I think that I'm hearing that still is the linchpin of, well, lynch, bad word, but that's still the sticking point or the central point, which we will probably always make every year at BlackNSA. So it's just about what's the clothing that we want to put on it this year, so.
I also want them to see our talent. See that, I mean, that was important to me. I want them to see our talent. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I was on the phone with Les Brown last November because he called me to ask me something, and he's mad at BlackNSA. I don't want to get into all that. Make sure I
still? Okay, sorry.
Still. Ain't nothing I can say to him to get over what happened years ago with BlackNSA, but that's another story. And I said, man, it would be so cool if he could at least be there. But he was so focused on why he called me that, I finally just backed off and said, then he'll make it the whole Les Brown show. That's probably not a good idea anyway.
That's why he's mad, because
I know, because he kept making it the Les Brown show. I know.
That's why we said, mm-mm.
I know, because he had that issue. But so I mean, I guess in part I was thinking, man, we need a big black headliner, somebody. And then I realized, because it's not about that. It's about black speakers feeling them. It's about, if we're up here saying black speakers too, or whatever a hashtag is, we want people to walk away going, you know what, next time I'm going to recommend a black speaker, but not just a black speaker. I just saw 4 very talented black speakers up there. So
is it, do we want to use it as a forum to lift up a newer or an up and coming speaker or something like that?
That's why I said I think people should audition, or not audition, but I think it should be one thing, because we don't want, I'm going to tell you as one of the leaders, you don't want to have to do the picking. You want it to be, you want to put out a call for speakers. Plus, we don't know who's registered and who's not. So we want to put some rules up there, but we want to put out a call for speakers and say, this is our goal. This is our theme, and we're looking for X number of speakers that can fit this, and please do this and submit and blah, blah, blah. And then whatever process we want to come up with. But to keep it fair, otherwise it becomes very political.
Yep.
Yeah. That's my thought, to let people, because I remember I love how Power Women did it last year. They said, this is what we want. This is how long it should be. And, but theirs was what didn't work, in my opinion, for Power Women was I didn't understand. It was no connection with the speakers. It was like one person spoke on storytelling, another person spoke on selling, it was no connection. It was just a bunch of speakers. You know what I mean? And I don't want that. And so I love what Norm said. I'm wondering, the whole piece. But I'm trying to remember what Summer is saying, because if you know the outcome, if you know what the goal is, then you can build your theme around it. But I think it's just as easy as just maybe I'm complicating it, but for me, it's just as easy as them noticing that we have a voice, we exist, and we're damn talented.
Yep.
And BlackNSA or organizations like it exist for a reason. Yeah. So the purpose.
So, question.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm going somewhere else with this. I don't know if this is how do we address this, or if we need to.
Yeah.
So I'm also kind of likening this to back in the day, in 40s, 50s, 60s, or whatever, where our talent wasn't ignored or talent wasn't diminished. It was, we were able to come to the table as actors and singers and athletes. But we weren't able to come to the table as leaders. So how do we incorporate that in some way without being political, without, I don't want it to be just like, okay, we've got talented speakers. Cool, we do. But that's not where we're lacking really right now.
To your point, Wendy Bailey, who is part of the community but not a BlackNSA, not an NSA member, wrote me, I think it was last year, and said, Marquessa, I'm not sure how I should handle this. There's a borough, whatever, that wants to represent me, and the first thing they said is, we want you to talk about diversity. Why do they feel like just because I'm a person of color, that's all I can talk about?
Mm-hmm.
To your point, don't put us in a bucket. You
Right.
know, not just because you got a black speaker doesn't necessarily mean that black speaker is going to talk about diversity or whatever it is that we're known for talking about. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything. Is that what you meant?
Sort of. I mean, I get that. I just.
Because how would that relate to us then, if you didn't mean by speaking topic or something?
Well, no, I didn't know if it meant topic. Again, I don't have it all fleshed out. I'm thinking that our talent has been recognized as we're talented people. Cool, they're talented people, but we still keep them at arm's distance in that area. When it comes to the places where they make decisions or where we can be involved on a level that says, yep, this is how the organization runs.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
That's kind of the seat that we don't have. So how do we make that a part of our message in some way?
What organization are you talking about? Are you talking about NSA?
Right. We just remember that it was asked during the orientation, and this was a big problem 3 years ago, and it's still a little bit of a problem, but it's gotten better. Black decision makers is what he's essentially saying. Like, even with national, remember, it just happened where we did not have, just 3 years ago, we did not have one black person on the board.
But isn't that
a token black person on the board? So we're saying in leadership positions. Is that what you said, Robert? Yeah.
So let me ask this question, because I haven't been there.
Yeah.
So what's stopping somebody from, if that's what they want to do?
Oh, it's a lot stopping. It's politics. It's politics, because many of us auditioned or got recommended to be on the board, showed up, but they decide oftentimes, because they see all the names in front of them. Right. And they decide, well, wait a minute, I don't know who Waukesha Davis is or Lily Davidson is, but I do know who my guy friend over here, Brian Walters, is. Okay. So yes, black folks have been kept off the board. And it was a very big problem. 1 year, we didn't have one black person on the board. I remember going and being at the, whatever they call it, the town hall meeting. So that's when Stacy was still around. This was as recent as 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then what really pissed us off was, what's his name? Dr. The past president.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, John.
Yeah, John feels like, okay, he just decides to go and appoint some black person that has been around for 2 minutes, which was a slap in the face to a lot of the black folks that have been around BlackNSA. I mean, not BlackNSA, but NSA for years.
Sure.
I remember that very well. So yeah, but you would say it's not us. Remember, to get on the board, you got to have friends on the board. And even if you have friends on the board, there were still certain people that wanted people to look like them on the board.
Sure.
So it was a very big problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could audition all you want. So things have switched. That's why this past year it was celebrated, because you got Verma, and 3 other, Casey Carpenter and one other person on the board. Okay. I can't think of her name right now, the HR girl. Yeah. So, yeah. But I like that, Robert. You're right. I mean, I don't know how we would roll that in, but I think we should certainly write it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I've got about 2 more minutes, Marquessa.
Me too. Yeah. So how is this, guys? Does this feel good? I like that Wakanda thing. Here's a thought, because I think we still need maybe one more meeting, and then I would like to assign a committee, and the committee runs with it. So you guys agree to meet one more time. And then at that point, because I know there were some people that couldn't make this meeting. And then after that meeting, the committee has decided and it goes straight from there, and that committee runs with it. So are we okay with meeting one more time?
Yep.
Because I didn't send out a reminder. Robert actually reminded me today about the meetings. I'm so overwhelmed. And for me, it's better if it's on a Monday. But I'm getting nervous because the Mondays are progressing. So how about, I want to think of a Monday everybody wants, but I'll be honest with you, a lot overwhelmed right now. Do you think we should meet sooner than later, or do you think we need some time to flesh it out? I don't want us to go too long, so I think we'll forget.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
So you want to?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think,
If it's on a Monday,
yeah.
For me it would have to be after the 23rd. So the 26th would be the next time that I could do it. If you wanted to do it during the week.
Yeah, I don't like the 26th because I'm going to be exhausted. It's right after my live event.
I'll still be traveling. I'll still be traveling back.
Yep. So, I mean, if you want to do it the week of the 19th, I mean, I'll be in Mississippi, but I can still touch bases.
No, I can't.
Wednesday evening.
I can't do it that week at all.
Okay.
Can anyone do it? No one can do it next Monday? Or is that too soon?
Next Monday's kind of tight for me. I mean, I can probably whip up 30 minutes.
Or we can do it a month from now if you guys feel like. I mean, I could do April the 2nd, that Monday.
Nope, I'm flying to Portland that night.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Can we pick another day?
Or we can do the 9th. How about the 9th? Does the 9th work for everyone?
April 9th?
Yeah.
Works for me.
Does it work for you,
I'm
Summer
good.
or Norm? Okay, so we'll say April the 9th. Do we want to say 8 or 7?
If we don't have any pods or anything, I can do 7.
Because I like, if we're going to do it, I mean.
Yeah, it's 7 is 4 o'clock my time, so I'm good.
All right. Guys, why don't we say 8? Because, Robert, this would be a good night for us to do a pod if we're going to do one. Because Havilah gave us 2 dates, and I'm not sure I think the 9th may have been one of them for her to do her part.
Okay.
So why don't we just say the 8 o'clock, guys? Why don't we say 8 o'clock? Because we're going to do something BlackNSA related. That way we're able to knock them all out. So we'll say 8 p.m. By then, this is your time to flush out what you just thought. Maybe you'll taking a shower. I know I've been inspired tonight. Anybody else? I've really been inspired. I love this. I love this because this is going to be big. And then if you can come with, and I go as far as just laying it all out, not step by step, but big picture with, okay, I think we should have this many people. But if you can just connect those dots, 3 questions. What are the expected outcome? What do we want people to walk away with? What is our overall theme? And what's our USP? In other words, what's going to make our event, kind of stand out from everybody else? And I think we're going down the right road. I'm really excited. I really am excited. Thank you for this. And your everybody's ideas. And it's so perfect. It's like, I love that Summer is here and then she's bookending us and Robert is coming in. What about this? And then Norma's saying, what about this? Wakanda. It's a good idea, guys. And I'll put this recording in the group so I'll say, watch this recording by then.
Okay.
Yeah.
8, and that's it. And then, guys, it's April. What date is it? April 9th. And then showtime. And by the way, Influence is registering right now. I meant to do it Friday, but I got it. So I'm gonna register, if not tonight, tomorrow, because I want to make sure that I want to get a room, but I'm also want to talk to the hotel and Robert. We got to talk about. We wanted to do some other BlackNSA activities.
Okay.
Yeah, so we want to get some rooms. All right, guys.
Okie dokie.
Good night.
Thanks. Good night, y'all.
All right, good night, guys. Bye-bye.